how to create an image like this in Rebelle version 7. Now, it's exactly the same is probably going to be virtually impossible. But I'm just going to delete this layer and I'm going to start right at the beginning. And it's just going to be a couple of brush strokes. It's the start point for the whole thing. And I'm going to use this one, Express Always. You could use any of the others as well, perfectly reasonable. And you can increase the size. Let's increase the size. I always find it a bit fiddly to actually increase the size. Now, you can hold down various keys to increase the size or decrease the size. That's just as good. But it's a pity there's no option for sort of just clicking in there and editing the value. It has a tendency to do something different from what I think it should. Now I'm just going to apply a brush stroke. There's a brush stroke like that. Now you'll notice that in this case it's got oil, so there's no spreading or anything like that. Shouldn't do anyway. So I'm just going to apply multiple brush strokes. I like a few things to start with, so I'm just going to go with that. And that's just created a layer. You can see the layer there. And this layer you can duplicate. And I like to just use this design and repeat it a few times. Now, unfortunately, in Rebelle, there's no great features for creating multiple copies of this. I'd love to see that. But go here, layer and duplicate. Obviously, you could use the shortcut. That's a good one. So duplicate it. And then go over here to the transform. This is in the tools panel. Select this, the transform. And then you can reposition it. Now, always remember to press OK. Otherwise, any work you do, you can quite often lose. Or go down the bottom and click OK. I personally wish it was at the top. I don't know if there's a feature to actually put it at the top. I would love to see that as a preference. Put it at the top. Down the bottom, I have a tendency to forget it's there. So click OK. And you can do the same. Again, go to a layer and you can duplicate. And then you can go over here and transform. And you can reposition it again. Again, remember to press OK once you've done any transforms. You can also rotate it, so you don't have to just keep it in the same place, same type of style. And you can also use these other ones like deform. So now, obviously, I've just lost what I was just doing there, but I'm just going to now distort this a bit. And again, remember to click OK. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to blend them all into one single design. So layer, and down here to merge visible layers. Now, sometimes the result doesn't always match what you got there. I don't know why, especially if you use blend modes. Blending. If you go to blending and you set various things, sometimes it works. Sometimes it seems to go odd. You don't get exactly what you think you're going to get, what you see on the screen anyway. So I've got that. Well, now I'm going to distort this. So that's the next thing to do. And that's just go over here. You've got tools again, just go here. You've got blend. You've got smudge and liquify, so just go that one. Click there. And now I can select a brush. I'm just going to select this one. You can select any of them. I'm going to go for 100 again for the opacity. And you'll notice you've got a few options. And I think that's the great thing about this, is you've got this one, smudge, which is like a default one. Now smudge is quite slow. You see, if you do it, it just takes a few seconds to process, not instantaneous. Also, you can go for this one, which seems to work, which I quite like to do. I actually like to just drag over. So you go on that, just go there, and then just drag. I like the way that the panels just disappear slightly when you go over them. That's a nice feature. Just gets out of the way. But you can see you can drag. And I think the result's still pretty good. And you can drag this down, and you can distort it in all kinds of ways. And you can drag it up like that. And again, you can go in the center part and drag that up, or just drag that down, and so on. But also another good one, this one, expand, liquefy and expand. So you can just hover over there and just hold it down the mouse, or art pad and pen. I'm using art pad and pen, and you can see as you do that, I like to move it just like, if you don't move it, so if you just like leave your mouse in that exact position, nothing changes. You have to sort of just move it just slightly, just subtle movements, and then it will expand. It's very strange. I always think it should just expand without doing that. Right. So I've got that now. There's also other ones as well, which are quite nice. Liquefy, push left, so you can just drag there. Now I'm using the mouse this time, or use twirl. And you can see, again, you just have to move it just subtly. If you move it subtly, if you don't move it, it will not twirl. And you can see you can create all kinds of weird and wonderful distortions. Again, it's pretty good for something that really was only a couple of paintbrush strokes. Now, I've got that. Well, I can now use that design again as before. I can duplicate it. So go to Layer and Duplicate Layer. So Duplicate Layer, I quite like doing that because it actually seems to make it even more high impact. But what I want to do now is go here to Deform and Transform. Now, that's obviously over there in Tools, and you select this Transform. If you can't see this panel, go to Window and it's Properties. It's not called Transform, it's called Properties. So you might think, where's the panel? Well, that's what it is, Properties. And now you've got that, you can move it, exactly same as before, and you can move it and reposition it. You can also resize it. So just resize it a bit, maybe again use some of these other ones. Warp's pretty good as well. But personally, I prefer to use this tool here, the Smudge and Liquefy, better than using this. I find the results not so good. I don't know why, but anyway, that's personal preference. You might prefer the other way. And you can then rotate it and other transforms and click OK. And you can see you've got that. Well, do exact same, Layer and Duplicate again, and then you can move it, again, Transform, and you can reposition it. Now you can also bring into the mix, as I said, various blending. Now sometimes weirdly it doesn't seem to work properly. I don't know why. So if I go to light and say, or go to hard light, and you can see you can create some interesting designs just by doing that. But as soon as you, let's see, I'm just going to do it now. Go to Layer and Merge. Remember to click OK. Always remember to click OK. Then go to Layer and Merge Visible Layers. Subtle change. It does just slightly alter. Doesn't look exactly the way it looked when you did it before. I don't know why, but still. With that, you can now, of course, distort it even more. And I'm going to stretch it far worse than I did before. So this time, Smudge and Liquefy. And I'm going to go for, not that one, I'm just going to go for Expand. So Expand, and I'm just going to just re-drag this out. Or again, go over here, Push. Prefer the Push one. Really creates some very extreme distortions of your design. And you can see, as you do that, you can just drag this out. And again, this is just basically from a single brush stroke. It's not, I applied a couple of brush strokes and the result still looks pretty reasonable in terms of you can't see, too many artifacts or anything particularly ugly, I think, in this. Obviously, you might not like the design, the abstract design. Obviously, everyone has different tastes about how they like something like that. Okay, so once you've done this distortion, another thing you can do, which I always quite like to do, is always go here to Layer, and again, Duplicate Layer. And this time, you can go here to Transform. So Edit, and down to Transform, and you've got options here for Transform. So Transform, or you could use this one again, of course. And you can just go here, Flip Vertical. Now you could also use Flip Horizontal as well. But I'm just going to go Flip Vertical. Don't have to do each and every transform. And again, always remember to click OK. Quite easy to forget. I often forget. I just wish it was an automatic feature. Don't know why it doesn't just do it automatic. I want it flipped. I don't need to click OK. I can always undo. It's very odd that they sort of force this OK cancel. But anyway, click OK. Now you can see I've got 2 layers. I could, of course, create 3 or 4, 100 layers. Does make it a bit messy though. And then go from normal and then down here to difference. You might not like that. You might decide again the soft light works better. Or maybe, now the thing is about difference or exclusion, it does fill the entire, or maybe go for multiply to create something like that. And once you're happy with that, what you can then do is again go to Layer and down here to Merge Visible Layers. This time actually the result sort of looks like exactly the same as it was before that. And you can of course distort this again. Again, go over here. You could use different brushes. You could try out all these different brushes. There's not a vast selection. But of course, once you've got the brush, so you select this one, you can always go and use this. And again, the size, you can increase size. Find it a bit clunky doing this way, but I just do it. And you can see then you can just drag it like that and distort it again to create interesting sort of designs that way. But you can always at any point, of course, bring up the brush creator. So you've got all options for saving all the various things, but you can also go to Window and down here to Brush Creator. And with Brush Creator, you can tweak it. There's a whole load of great features. There's dual brushes, background textures. There's loads of other options here. Some more available than others, of course, depending on the type of brush, what you're working with. And also, you can go here, modify, say, the stroke, shape and grain, I should say. And you can see the shape there. So click there. Maybe go for shape star instead. So click that. With that, let's go over here. You can now use that in this design. So let's just close that down. And again, just move there. Move that out of the way. Yeah, does actually do it eventually. And you can see you can create some very, weirdly, it just didn't seem to do anything. It's very odd. But you can see you can create some truly abstract designs simply by just changing the shape of the brush. And you can see I just dragging that over so you can fill the entire screen. But that creates a sort of like very marble-like design very quickly. I'm just going to finish that off now. I actually hadn't intended to go using that brush, but still, it is quite an interesting way of using different brushes. And of course, you can create different designs, which you can then use here. You can always go here to your brush creator, and there's options down here, texture operator, flip horizontal, invert, and so on. There's also texture properties and much, much more. And click there, and you can, of course, import selection, import texture, and so on. Lots of great features. You can create some truly unique designs very quickly, just from basically a couple of brush strokes. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments. Have you used any of these features? The smudge and liquefy, do you find it really useful? I think it's a really good tool in this. Also, the brush creator is great for lots and lots of exploring of lots of options. I've done videos on the brush creator. It's a great tool of Rebelle. And also the image library, of course, it's great to add multiple different new. And I've actually added in the past many in this, but with this version, I haven't got any additional brushes here. Hopefully at some point, I'll add some new ones. Please subscribe to the channel, always adding new videos all the time. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Bye.